So as I said, this is literally just coming in. The pressure has fallen a bit more to 964. We had already said that about an hour or so ago, a little more than that, the reconnaissance flights that were going through the center of the storm were already finding lower pressure. So it was not a surprise that the pressures came down. Just very interesting. I'm guessing that the hurricane hunters are able to only find winds of 105 miles an hour, which again is good. It is still a Category 2 storm, still well on its way to becoming a 3. Very surprised not to see that as a 3 now, but we'll take it. The thunderstorm development around the center continues to look very healthy and continues to intensify. So let's take a look at the new track. It does have it as a 4 by early tomorrow morning. So even though it is still a 2, the intensity forecast remains the same. And then coming inland around say kind of the same. Again, nothing has dramatically changed all that much. Again, the track is a little bit more to the east now of even Homa and still near Baton Rouge, but maybe just to the east. Again, this was a very slight jog to the east. This was not a dramatic jog by any means, but enough so that it does now place New Orleans a bit closer to the center of the storm, certainly more so across the river parishes, and more of a likelihood and a higher chance now. If you were with us earlier before this information came out, did you remember the percentages for hurricane force winds in the city did start to go up? So it looked like the models were already starting to trend that way. So again, it still looks like we are going to see minimal hurricane force winds, but hurricane force winds nonetheless in Metro New Orleans. So we are likely going to see now, based on this new track, which has shifted a little bit more to the east, the high likelihood of hurricane force winds at 75 or greater in the metro area. Again, not really surprised. We were always right on the cusp of that happening. So the new information is now just only 145 miles to the south-southeast of the mouth of the river. The forward motion has not changed. Northwest at 16. The pressure has fallen, but the winds are holding at 105. And there was no change in thinking that this will make landfall as a Category 4 storm. And again, the reason why I like showing that center line is because it really does give you a much clearer picture as to which way the hurricane center has been changing in their thinking. And from earlier today, it was more west of Baton Rouge. Then we saw it sitting over Baton Rouge, and now it may be a little bit more to the east of Baton Rouge. So I would say, and as the discussion just came in from the Weather Service office locally in Slidell, there are now pretty much equal chances for hurricane force winds across both Baton Rouge and New Orleans at this time. And that trash and debris could become more of an issue in the coming days with the rainfall that we're expecting. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But the latest on Tropical Storm Nicholas, winds have picked up to 65 miles an hour since the earlier advisory, and it is right now hugging the coast of Texas. So there is some land interaction, but with the center still over water, there is the possibility that it could strengthen a bit more, possibly even becoming a hurricane before landfall along the coast, kind of north of Corpus and between Houston and Corpus Christi, moving inland and taking that turn toward Louisiana. And with it, winds aren't going to be as much of the issue. We will see some gusty winds. It'll be the rain. And here is the rain and flooding threat as we head into tomorrow. We're under a slight risk, more localized flooding. That may become a little bit more widespread, though, as we head into Wednesday. And both days are covered by a flash flood watch. Right now, the rough estimate is 4 to 8 inches. Obviously, certain areas are going to see more or less. It just really depends upon where some of these bands of rain set up. But that's kind of what the guidance has been telling us, 4 to 8 inches on the higher scale. Now, there are parts of south central Louisiana that could easily see more than that, approaching and exceeding a foot of rain, and certainly across southwestern Louisiana and southeastern Texas. Here's what's going on. Big upper trough. This is the culprit for our severe weather yesterday, but also helping to bring in some very chilly temperatures down across now the eastern half of the nation and all the way down to the Gulf South. This is going to be in place through the weekend, so great news if you're hoping for at least a little bit of a fall feel for the Halloween weekend. That's great news. As we get into next week, we will see what's called a zonal flow, meaning in the upper atmosphere, winds are west to east. Doesn't necessarily mean a warm up, but it kind of cuts off the coldest of the air for a few days, because by the middle to end of next week, here comes another upper trough that will likely send in another front by the end of next week. So our high temperature forecast, we'll kind of see those highs slowly getting back to near average, and then another drop as we get toward Thursday and Friday of next week, and next weekend looking chilly.